Everybody has a sign, and your sign means something. This is my story about my sign. My sign is the feather. I have so many objects that are feathers. And this is how I know it's my sign and my story. So, I had a grandma that I called Mimi, and she battled cancer. She beat cancer but sadly died of a stroke in our house. She was an amazing woman and one of the strongest women I know. She lived with us, and I remember going into her room that's underneath the kitchen. She had her own little area. Going down as a young girl and eating chocolate with her and shoving it in my mouth. And my mom would come down and be like, "Honey, what's going on?" And my face would be shoved with chocolate. Chocolate would be all over my face. I'm like, oh, like I couldn't talk because of all of the chocolate. I was at dance, and it was a jazz class Thursday night. Years ago, like I was in middle school or primary or middle school. I don't know which one. And I felt like something was a little bit off, to be honest. And that day we did a contemporary jazz dance to Idina Menzel's song called Hope, which back then was like a very popular song, and it was a good contemporary jazz dance. My mom came and told me that something happened, and I didn't really know what at the time, but I knew it was something serious. That night, my mom, dad, and aunt went somewhere, and I didn't know exactly where. And it was like around midnight, and I stayed up wanting to know what was happening and what was going on. And they didn't know I listened or paid attention. But I found out that my grandma had a stroke in the house and was in the hospital on a breathing mechanism to help her breathe. She survived through the night and everything, and I never saw her in the hospital. One, I didn't want to. I didn't want to see her with tubes and everything. And also, my mom didn't want me either. And when she was in the hospital, I began seeing feathers on the street. And, I didn't think much about it or anything. And then I woke up in my bed, and I thought that this was real life, but it could be a dream, I don't know. But I saw, it probably was a dream, but I saw my room was full of feathers. And then I went back to bed, or I was already asleep. And I'm like, that was strange, but I woke up the next day and found out my grandma had passed. And so I began seeing feathers in certain areas, like on the floor, and people's hair, tattoos of, I began seeing feathers everywhere. And I spoke at her funeral. And it was like kind of crazy because I was speaking to a bunch of people that I knew, some of my friends, family, people that I didn't know. And I was just focusing on the back. I wasn't making eye contact. All of a sudden, I swore I saw a white feather fall in the back behind everybody. And at that point, I was like, okay, something's up. I'm going insane. So I looked up what it means when you see an object throughout the day in different locations randomly over and over and over again. I found out that that means it's a sign from somebody up above, whether it is God, angels, whatever you believe in. For me, I'm a Christian. I believe in God, so it's a sign from God and guardian angels and everything. So I looked into what a feather meant, and feather means hope. And you are where you are supposed to be in life. And that really hit me. So that's when I prayed about it. And I began thinking, is this my sign? And ever since that day, that night that my grandma passed away, I've seen feathers everywhere. And that's why I have a feather ring on that I always wear. My friends give me feathers. I collect feathers. I take photos of feathers. A friend of mine gave me this statue of a feather and everything. And I even have feathered leggings. And Monday, this woman at the club, I've never met her, she's a new member, came up to me and was like, oh my goodness, your pants are so cool, and I love that they have feathers. I'm like, yeah, feathers is my sign. And she was like, I don't understand. So I explained to her what a sign is, what a symbol is. And mine is feathers. I see feathers a lot. Like, my eyes are drawn to it because it represents hope and reassuring I'm supposed to be where I am in life and I'm on the right track. And I saw her today in Anti-Gravity. And she told me, oh my goodness, Daniela, ever since I talked to you Monday, I've been seeing feathers. And I think of you and I think of hope. And I know what you said, like, I'm on the right path in my life. Now, I don't know if that's her sign or not, but I just shared a experience of my sign and what it stands for. It's amazing that somebody really engulfed that, and maybe a feather is her sign after I told her what signs meant and everything. So that's my story about my sign. Feathers, why I love feathers so much, what's the story behind it. Yeah, that's just my story, and it makes me happy every single time I see a feather, because it brings me hope about my culture, my society, my family, my friends, people that I know, people that I don't know, people who are suffering through things, health-wise, emotionally, family-wise, anything, anybody that is going through something, they need hope. And the feathers give me hope. And I hope that I am or will be a good role model to other people and stand up for people who don't have hope and give people hope. And that is why the feather is my symbol.